네, 이번 오후 세션을 진행해 주실 50플러스 코리안의 한주형 대표님을 먼저 앞으로 모시도록 하겠습니다. 한주형 대표님은 사단법인 50플러스 코리안의 대표로 국내외를 넘나들면서 퇴직자들이 더 활기차고 보람 있는 삶을 살아가도록 50플러스 세대를 위한 많은 활동을 하고 계십니다. 스스로도 멋진 인생 2막을 열어가고 계신 50플러스 세대시기도 하는데요. 한주형 대표님을 박수로 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 한주영입니다. 점심 식사 잘 하셨습니까? 네. 그러면 이제 좀 졸릴 시간이죠? 그래서 저희가 안 하던 좀 짓을 해야 될 것 같습니다. 왜 제가 이 자리에 있냐면 제가 기계치거든요. 그래서 여러분들하고 가장 제가 모자라는, 제가 할 수 있으면 여러분 다 할 수 있어요. 그래서 이 클릭이라는 거를 해봅니다. 지금 이 자리에 질문이 이렇게 화면에 뜨면, 그리고 제가 읽어드리면 거기에 대해서 여러분이 굉장히 솔직하게 대답을 하셔야 돼요. 옆에 사람 이렇게 눈치 보면서 누르시면 아니 되옵니다. 그래서 여기 지금 배포되고 있습니다. A, B, C, D, E, F까지 있으니까 어떤 질문은 yes, no, 1, 2에서 끝나는 질문도 있는 것 같아요. 한번 우리가 연습 삼아도 해보고 그러면서 나 말고 여기 이 홀에 포럼에 오신 다른 분들의 생각은 또 어떤가도 한번 같이 보는 그런 시도라고 생각을 하시고 좀 익숙하지 않으시겠지만 해보시죠. 괜찮으시겠어요? 네. 좋습니다. 이 세션 2에 오후 세션의 제목이 뭔가 혹시 기억하시는 분? 예, 이렇게 보시면 안 됩니다. 안 보시고 기억을 하셔야 됩니다. 그러면 여기에서 간단한 선물이 또 나갑니다. 저는 선물이 뭔지는 모릅니다. 근데 굉장히 50플러스의 유익한 선물일 것 같아요. 세션 2의 제목은 50플러스 세대의, 서울시에서 얘기하는 50플러스는 정의가 어떻게 되죠? 50세에서 64세입니다. 혹시 나중에 플로어에서 질문을 하시더라도 막 75세 입장에서 질문하시면 아니 됩니다. 예, 일단은 오늘은 50플러스 세대의 사회 참여를 위한 통한 지속 가능한 발전이랍니다. 지속 가능한 발전이 어떤 게 있을까요? 사회 참여란 거는 감이 오시나요? 예. 그래서 오늘 오후 세션에 우리보다 더 고령 선진국 내지는 복지 선진국인 다른 나라의 사례를 통해서 한번 미래의 여행을 한번 해보는 거로 하겠습니다. 그래서 이 발전이라 하면 첫째, 제가 생각에는 개인의 발전도 있을 것 같고, 개인과 가족, 그 다음에 내가 살고 있는 동네, 그죠? 커뮤니티, 지역 커뮤니티의 발전도 있고, 도시 사회나 국가의 발전도 있을 것 같아요. 자, 준비됐습니까? 네. 질문 나갑니다. 오늘 서울 50플러스 국제포럼 2017은 고르셔야 돼요. A. 재미있고 유익하다. 그리고 이후 프로그램이 기대된다. B. 50플러스 재단과 관련 사업에 참여하고 싶은 마음이 생긴다. C. 도움은 되는 것 같지만 작고 졸립다. 자, 누르시죠. 이거 막 늦게 누르시고 그러면 안 돼요. 누르세요. 누르셨어요? 결과 보여주시죠. 요즘 41%가 재미있고 기대된다. 정말이에요? 한번 보시죠. 이런 식으로 하시면 됩니다. 오늘 여러분하고 같이 여러 가지 일을 우리가 할 텐데 나중에 또 세션 참가자에 대한 소개는 나중에 하기로 하고요. 이렇게 하시면 되고요. 두 번째 질문 넘어갈까요? 네. 두 번째 질문은 나는 굉장히 어려운 질문이 나왔습니다. 나는 50플러스 세대이다. A가 yes, 그렇다. B는 no. 자, 눌러주세요. 결과. 오, 이거 50 플러스 아닌 사람들도 있네요. 예, 있습니다. 여러 가지로 이거 가장 빠르게 누르신 분이 누구인가 알 수 있나요? 그러면 좀 선물 좀 돌리면 좋은데. 그 다음 질문 넘어가겠습니다. 나는 어디에서 왔다. A. 서울. B. 경기 지역. C. 서울 경기 그 외 지역. D. 해외. 어딥니까? 눌러주십시오. 여기 최소한 세 분은 D를 답을 해야 돼요. 그죠? 오전 세션에 얘기하셨던 브라이언, 그 다음에 오후 세션에 할 폴, 에릭, 그 다음에 캐리. 이렇게 D에 나와야 됩니다. 자, 결과 볼까요? 아, 나오긴 나왔네요. 4.3% 나왔습니다. 예. 자, 그 다음 질문 넘어가겠습니다. 내 노후와 나의 파트너, 배우자의 노후 둘 중에서 더 걱정되는 건 누구다? A. 나의 노후가 더 걱정된다. B. 내 배우자의 노후가 더 걱정된다. 이건 제가 낸 질문입니다. 좀 벌써 말이 안 되는 질문이 나오죠? 네, 눌러주십시오. 누르셨어요? 네, 답 보겠습니다. 답 보여주십시오. 여기 내 배우자의 노후가 걱정된다고 생각하신 분 손 한번 들어주세요. 내 배우자. 예, 김기아 선생님, 왜 내 배우자가 더 걱정돼요?
저는요 연금을 받는데 남편은 연금이 조금이니까 내가 가고 나면 조금 받긴 받겠지만 그래도 걱정이 돼서야.
네, 감사합니다. 근데 남편은 걱정 안 하실 것 같아요. 이렇게 훌륭하신 분이 연금을 받으니까. 우리 선물 좀 주시죠. 네, 이렇게. 지금 손 제일 먼저 빠르게 드신 분은 서울특별시 의회 문화체육관광위원회 김경자 의원이십니다. 네, 네, 반갑습니다. 오라고만 하고 어떻게 오는지는 말씀을 안 해주셨는데 그건 아마 끝나고 나서 또 인사하시면 될 것 같습니다. 그 다음 질문 넘어가겠습니다. 이것도 제가 좀 익숙한 거네요. 우리 집에서 나와 내가 키우는 강아지나 고양이, 반려견 중에 누가 뭐 이사를 간다든지 무슨 일이 있을 때 더 가족들에게서 사랑을 받겠는가? 솔직하게 말씀해 주셔야 됩니다. 나냐 A 아니면 나의 펫 반려견이냐? 예. 그건 자기 입장이 아닙니다. 자, 배우자나 다른 파트너에서 누르셨어요? 네, 결과 보여겠습니다. 아직도 이렇게 착각을 하고 사시는 분이 굉장히 많네요. 예, 자기가 얼마나 변화했는가는 본인 스스로 결정하는 게 아닙니다. 배우자가 결정해 주는 거라 그래요. 그 다음 의견 보겠습니다. 질문 보겠습니다. 나는 뭐뭐한 50 플러스이고 싶다. A가 뭐라고요? 쿨한. 예, 쿨한 50 플러스 세대이고 싶다. B는 어떻게 통역을 할지 모르겠는데 꼰대 같은 50 플러스가 되고 싶다. 이 말은 나는 나의 지금 현재의 모습대로 그냥 살고 싶다. 뭐 이런 분이라고 생각하면 됩니다. 눌러주십시오. 이건 보나 마나 뭐 결과는 나올 것 같아요. 보여주시죠. 결과가 안 나오고 있습니다. 지금 굉장히 복잡한가 봐요. 네, 다들 여기 오신 분은 최소한 그럴 것 같아요. 제가 딱 보니까 굉장히 쿨한 분들만 와 계십니다. 예. 이방 온도는 괜찮은가요? 쿨한가요? 예, 오늘 밖에 굉장히 덥고요. 제가 점심시간 조금 전후에 밖에 나갔다 왔는데 굉장히 차가 많이 막히고 있습니다. 여러분, 우리는 럭키합니다. 여기 지금 오늘 행운입니다. 그 다음 질문 넘어가겠습니다. 나는 인생 후반기를 위한 배움에 현재 참여하고 있다. B, 아직까지 참여하고 있지 않다. 눌러주십시오. 결과 보겠습니다. 네, 이제 오늘 세션 포럼 어떻게 되는 거 보고, 그죠? 오전 세션 배움에 관한 거 본 다음에 이제 참여하시려고 생각하죠. 서울시에서 하고 있는 지금 50+ 재단 산하의 캠퍼스라든지 센터들이 많으니까 너무나 지금 좋은 환경이 만들어지고 있는 것 같습니다. 과감하게 결정하셔서 한번 가보시면 좋을 것 같아요. 자, 배움 질문 나왔고요. 그 다음 질문 볼까요? 내가 인생 후반기에 배우고 싶은 것은 기존에 내가 하던 일, 경력을 발전시키는 것이다가 A. B는 뭐죠? 새로운 분야. 이제껏 했던 거 말고 완전히 새로운 분야를 하고 싶다. C는 내가 도대체 무엇을 배우고 싶은지 나도 모르겠다. 그 다음 D는 난 더 이상 배울 것이 없다. 부록이다. 자, A, B, C, D 중에 결정하시고 눌러주십시오. 어려운가요? 갑자기 가지수가 문항수가 많아졌어요. 네. A, B, C, D. 기존 거, 새로운 거, 무엇을 배워야 될지 잘 모르겠다. 더 이상 배울 것이 없다. 이렇게 됩니다. 자, 결과 보여주시죠. 와, 역시 역시 여기 오신 분들은 무언가 범상치가 않습니다. 이제껏 경험해보지 않은 새로운 분야에 도전하고 싶다가 66%로 제일 많았습니다. 그리고 뭔지 모르겠다는 분도 4.4%. 여기서 뭔지 모르겠다에 답을 하신 분 혹시 계신가요? 뭐 제가 지적하려고 하는 거 아닙니다. 상을 드리려고 하는 건데. 예, 어디 계세요? 누군가 밖에서 눌렀나 봅니다. 자, 넘어가겠습니다. 그 다음 질문. 나는 이제 사회 참여에 관한 것 같아요. 사회의 다양한 문제에 전반적으로 관심이 있다. 꼭 나와 관련이 없는 분야를 포함해서라도. 그 다음 그게 A고요. B는 나와 관련이 있는 분야에만 관심이 간다는 거고, C는 난 전혀 관심 없다. A, B, C 중에 눌러주십시오. 네, 이거는 정답이 있는 건 아니라는 거 아시죠? 네, 결과 한번 보겠습니다. 사회의 다양한 문제에 관심이 있다. 역시 대한민국 다양한 문제 많죠 요즘. 그래서 75%가 전반적으로 관심이 있고 관련된 분야에만 관심이 있다가 23%입니다. 다음 문제 넘어갈까요? 그래서 지금 우리의 50+는 우리는 당사자는 사회 문제 A. 무관심하다. B. 관심은 가지고 있으나 적극적으로 참여하고 있지는 않다. C는 뭐죠? 적극적으로 참여하고 문제도 해결한다. A, B, C 중에 골라주십시오. 저도 그 사이에 계속 하고 있습니다. 기계치지만. 결과 볼까요? 관심을 가지고 있으나 어떻게 적극적으로 참여하고 있지는 않다가 67.4%고요. 문제를 적극적으로 해결한다가 무려 27% 넘습니다. 자, 그다음 문제. 우리 사회는 50+ 세대가 사회에 참여할 수 있도록 A. 적극적으로 지원하며 다양한 프로그램을 제공하고 있다. B는 다양한 기회를 지원하고 제공은 하고 있지만 이렇게 널리 홍보가 되어 있지는 않은 것 같다. C는 어떤 지원을 하고 있는지 내가 도대체 모르겠다. 그 다음 D, 전혀 지원하고 있는 것 같지가 않다. A, B, C, D 결정하셔 눌러주시죠. 네, 결과 보겠습니다. 네, 역시 많은 걸 제공하고 있지만 잘 알려지지 않고 홍보가 좀 덜 되고 있는 것 같다. 그 다음에 어떤 지원을 하고 있는지 모르겠다는 것도 거의 같은 부류인 것 같아요. 합치면 82%나 되고 있습니다. 이 부분은 우리가 좀 눈여겨봐야 될 것 같습니다. 그 다음 또 질문 있나요? 없습니다. 없다는 여러분 수고하셨습니다. 박수 우리한테 스스로한테 박수 한번 보내고요. 네. 지금 서울시도 50+ 세대가 굉장히 퍼센티지가 높습니다. 몇 퍼센트나 될까요? 22% 정도 됩니다. 네. 그리고 앞에 시간에서도 얘기했지만 우리가 사회적 자본이라고 얘기해요. 과연 어떻게 우리가 우리 스스로를 활용하고 쓸 것이고 또 지역 커뮤니티에 잘 도움이 될까 하는 걸 우리 서울시 50+ 정책에서도 이렇게 큰 관심을 가지고 적용이 됐으면 좋겠습니다. 자, 그러면 그다음은 우리 뭐죠? 예, 아니, 김 의원님이 저를 도와주시고 계시네 이게. 다 모실까요? 예. 지금 오늘 후반전에 여러 그게 많아요 프로그램이. 그래서 제가 지금 여쭤보는데 일단은 바로 다음에 시작할 분이 덴마크와 영국에서 오신 분들입니다. 50+ 세대의 사회 참여를 위해서 어떤 프로그램들이 있는지 실제 사례를 통해서 저희가 한번 공유하는 그런 들어보는 시간이 되고요. 그 다음에는 50+ 우리 대한민국의 50+의 세대로서 주체로서 퇴직한 다음에 아니면 경력 단절 여성으로서 우리가 어떤 일들을 그 사이에 몇 년간 하고 계셨던가 하는 또 우리 한국 대한민국 사람들의 또 사례도 같이 들어보고요. 그 다음에 질문은 지금 오픈으로 카카오톡에도 여러분의 의견이 수렴되고 있습니다만 또 플로어에서 또 이렇게 마지막으로 질의응답 받는 그런 순서로 이어가도록 하겠습니다. 연사들은 please come to the floor, the desk. Yeah. 여기 연단의 포디움 이쪽으로 다 오시죠. 테이블로. 그리고 지금 두 분도 오시고 그럼 저도 앉아서 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 다 오셨으면 바로 시작하겠습니다. 이 덴마크에서 오신 분인데요. 본인이 아마 또 소개를 하실 것 같지만, 폴-에릭 틴드백 대표님 포디움으로 모시겠습니다. Floor is yours. 이런 거 안 해봐서 제가 잘 모르는데 큰 박수로 우리가 모셔야죠. 네, 감사합니다.
And this works, yes. Okay. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very thankful to have this opportunity to have a closer look on this very interesting and very, I would call it, a worldwide front-runner project as the 50+ Foundation in Seoul. So thank you very much. I think this picture must be from Europe. Certainly not from Seoul, because here you are really building bridges. And you can still hear what I say? Yes? Okay. So let's move on. I have a small company called A Third Career, and it means a career in the third age. And I think we're all familiar with the image of what a career in the third age means. After you have been working for 30, 40 years, now it's of course, you have to relax, do nothing for the rest of the life, smoke a cigar, and relax. That's the big story about retirement. And we all have this image and think, okay, that will be very fine. But something has happened during the last years. And if you have a closer look in this picture, then you'll see that she is in fact hardworking. She has become an entrepreneur in the tourist branch, selling cigars and pictures for tourists in Havana, Cuba. She rolled her own cigars each night at home. You can see them there. And $1 for a cigar, $1 for a photo. So there are things happening in the story of retirement where we might say that we have a paradigm shift of retirement patterns. We're moving from one kind of thoughts and feelings and expectations of retirement to another kind. And in the one picture, you have the two stories. The big story where people, when they arrive to pension age, They all think we are going to have to rest for the rest of our lives. But more and more people, they want to continue to contribute. They want to be a part of the game instead of what a lot of people feel when they retire. They are just pushed to the sideline just to watch what's going on when you're not a part of the game anymore. And more people also want meaningful commitments as a part of the entire life. So instead of leisure for 30 years, an encore career, which they call it in the United States, or a third career, as I call it, is what more people are wanting. So this is just a kind of an overture of what we're going to talk about. And just a short presentation of where I come from. When you're talking about Denmark, most people also know Copenhagen. I come from Aarhus, the second city in Aarhus in Denmark. It was founded by the Vikings in 1700, and it's the second city of Denmark. And this year, it's been appointed as the cultural capital of the European Union. So if you come to Denmark, then have just a short visit to Aarhus, where a lot of cultural activities is going on. So what are we going to talk about? There are four things. We all know that life expectancy is increased, and that's fine. What people are not so much aware about is that we have got a quite new life phase. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. One of the most difficult transitions in this very difficult period of life is the transition from working life, and that's the second part. And then I'll give you a short introduction to the method in my pre-retirement workshops. And finally, show two small videos where people show how they continue to contribute also after last day on the job. So we all know this graph. All over the world, life expectancy is increasing. I have to get closer to this one. I'll try this. So we try this instead. Well, we know that graph, and all over the world, it's the same development. What's not so much, people are not so much aware about is that we're not only living longer, we have got quite a new life phase. And what I mean with that, I'll illustrate with, we know the three main life phases as child, then you become adult, and old. 100 years ago, we didn't know and we were not aware about the life phase between child and adult, the youngs. Your grandchildren, they just went working in the farming or in the beginning of industrialized societies when they became 8, 10, or 12 years. So they were aware of that phase in life between child and adult. Now we have been aware of it, and in fact we are in a very youth-focused society nowadays. But you can see there's a room for a new phase between adult and old. It's not so well known because it doesn't have a name, this phase. Some people call them the young old, some people call them senior and 60 plus. I've also heard the expression mentioned, the living dead. So we need an expression for this life phase. Now I have called them the full grown, and you might say that close to the truth because it's where people have so much experience as when you turn 50 or 60 that you know more about what's right and wrong in life. So you are more mature, you are full grown maybe. And it's in fact this generation that the 50 plus foundation focus on, and it's in most countries they are what you call it here in Seoul, hit by the policy blind spot. When you're talking about politics addressed elderly, then most people, they think it's about the weaker parts of the elderly, the the groups that need other people to take care of them. They can't take care of themselves. And just to illustrate in another way what we're talking about with this new phase in life, I have compared the life expectancy from 1900 to 2000 in Denmark, where you might illustrate in this way that 100 years ago, it was around 52 years, the average life expectancy in Denmark. And 100 years later, they just added 25 more years. So compared to other generations, we now have got 25 more years to live as a kind of a life bonus, where people have the opportunity to start a new phase in life, a new beginning. And it is difficult to realize, it's difficult to understand for people that it's a new beginning they are just entering. Because the old story of aging is that when you arrive to the age of 50, 60, that it's downhill the rest of the time and you're finishing all what's interesting in life. But in fact, you've got 25 more years and it's a new beginning. And that's one of the most important things to realize to people in the 50 plus, 60 plus generation. When I always say 60 plus, because in Denmark, my generation, they retire at 60, 65, more than here in Seoul and Korea. But of course, this new phase of life is a challenge. It's first of all a challenge for the society, because it's not sustainable that so many resourceful, so many competent people, they just go into leisure land for 30, 20 years. So what do societies have to do to cope with that challenge? A helping hand might be a very good idea, and it's not very many places you find such a very fine, constructive helping hand as you find it here with the 50 Plus Foundation in Seoul. For the individual, it's a challenge as well. One way to illustrate it is to quote Bernard Shaw, who said, "An eternal holiday can be a good definition of hell." We all like holidays, and we're very good coping with holidays, but 25 years, none of you have ever tried that before. So just to illustrate the different way of answering this challenge in Europe and in Seoul, it's the common politics in Denmark and in most countries in Europe that they just want to prolong working life and postponing retirement. And at the same time, they run a lot of campaigns for healthy aging and health care technology. And as I mentioned before, they really this generation are really hit by the policy blind spot in Europe. I think the answer in Seoul is much more interesting and must be inspiring for a lot of countries around the world, that you are really building bridges for life after work. And that's what is needed. Just to illustrate how difficult the transition from working life is, I first show this planche from a sociologist from the 1954, Robert Havikhurst, who said that in the life phase from 55 to 75, a lot of strong social roles are changing. On the one hand, the role as employee are being reduced, the role as parent is reduced, and so is the role of being a partner and the role of being a lover. Very strong social roles. So fortunately, there are also new roles arising. People, they find out that they have to be more at home. And I might illustrate it with a story. I met a carpenter who was 72, working at IKEA, a big Swedish concern. He retired at 65 years, And for the first 2 years, you say, then I made a lot of work at my home and also in my summer house. But after 2 years, my wife and I agreed that it was better that I got a new job because she couldn't stand that having him going around so much anymore. It is a challenge when you're used to be together in a couple, 20% of the time, suddenly to be together 80% of the time. And another role as granny, important role as granny, and how to adjust to so much leisure time and maybe become a volunteer. So this has been well known for many years that it's a period with many difficult transitions. And if we have a look at today, new old age-related norms also has changed a lot. So especially the most difficult transition in this life phase is when you are leaving the job. The first 20 years of your lifetime, you are preparing for the next 2 times 20 years. You get an education, you're trained for a job, you're also playing family because you know you're going to have a partner, maybe raise a family. And you have used 20 years just to look for the next 2 times 20 years. And when you then reach at 60 years, you not only have 5 more years to live, you have 20 or 25 more years, a new beginning. So what is the goal at that time? But when you are close to retirement, then most people, they just look forward to see what you get, and at the same time, they forget looking back to see what they lose. And of course, it's nice to look forward to see what you get, because now you have the freedom and 37 or 40 hours for travel and leisure. For a partner, be more together with a partner, play with your grandchildren, family activities, hobbies in gardening, and do-it-yourself projects, and relaxation. Very nice things all together. So when you are discussing with your colleagues very close to last day on the job, we are just discussing, oh, how nice it will be, all these things. But people forget that at the same time, they lose what they have built up through so many years, their identity and engagement. They lose to be together with colleagues and an important social network. They lose the opportunity to have a daily structure and weekly structure, making a difference, which means a lot to people. To go home each day and know I have been worth something worse. Other people have appreciated what I have done in my job. And you have less money to live for. And maybe also this is very important, that now you have fulfilled the meaning and goals you set in the first part of your life. What is the meaning and goals for the next phase of life, for the next 25 years? That might be one of the greatest challenges. So the challenge of this new life phase is, just to sum up, is in one hand how to retrieve and find what you have lost and combine it with what you have got. This is a way just to illustrate that when you leave the job, it might be the same as a jump from the cliff. So just to repeat what it's needed, what the challenge really is instead of just a jump from the cliff, it would be very worthwhile for many people if they were building some bridges where 50 plus or 60 plus can get some good guidance and counseling on how to find new colleagues, a new important network, a new structure daily and weekly. Continue to make a difference, continue to use their competences and do what they think they are very good at. To be challenged and to discover meaning and goals in this new phase of life. So it's important to everyone leaving working life, but there are many different ways of reaching this opportunity. So it's correct that we have got this 25 years life bonus, And it's also important that people realize that they have to find their very own way. Because we are good, as this picture illustrates, we are very good to follow the same road as all the others. It needs a lot of courage to go your own way. But we are so different that it really means a lot to people to have the courage to see, I choose to find my own way. And a lot of people need guidance and counseling and dialogue with others to find their own way. And how important it is, this quote from a nurse in Australia, Bronnie Ware, shows she had been talking with dying people for 8 years. And one of the greatest regrets they have just before the final deadline is they say, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. Because we are very good to do what other people expect of us. And sometimes it's really needed to do what's best for ourselves. So pre-retirement workshops, call it a shortcut to active aging. And I'll give you a very short version of a way to look at it. It's the goal to inspire 60 plus, not especially to contribute socially, but to do what they are good at and to continue contributing in later life. And just to mention that it works, I'm very proud of the results. It's general results from a lot of workshops I've held. 95% feel they are much better prepared for life after work. And what I'm really surprised about is that 2/3, 65%, they change plans for the next phase of life just after a 2-day discussion with other people and listening to what I'm going to say as well. 45% decide to become a volunteer. That's another place where you meet new colleagues and where you have an opportunity to do what you're good at and go home each day and feel, I really made a difference today. 33% decide to stay longer on the job. My audience, my participants are pre-retired, so they have a better chance to go and speak to the manager and say, I would like to stay here a year or two more. And the method is, I think, very similar to what's running in the life schools here, presentations and dialogue and plenary, but the most important, that people are arranged in the same way as Mr. Tong explained, in a small table where they feel safe and where they have very sensitive and intimate discussions with each other. And of course also alone, they have reflections and discuss at home and get a lot of documentation so they have something to return to when they are closer to the last day on the job. And I think that the dialogue with other people, counseling, and a good laugh is one of the secret ingredients. My model was awarded in 2012, and on my homepage you can find this report of pre-retirement courses. It was a report written by a European partnership I was the coordinator of in 2012 as well. So the part of the social contribution, as I mentioned before, the goal is to inspire people to continue to use what they are very good at, to use their competencies, and to fill their third age, their later life, with activities they are very good at. But I expose a lot the volunteer sector. And values in working life can be regained in the voluntary world. As I mentioned once before, colleagues and structure making a difference. You can regain all these values in the voluntary world. I use a lot of storytelling with guest teachers. When a person comes with a personal story and how he experienced 3 months after he has finished his working life, that he really got depressed. The image, the expectations of retirement wasn't the same as the reality. So after a period of depression, when he first entered the volunteer world, then he regained some of the values in his life. So that's a very strong way to explain that the volunteer world can be a very good platform for the third age. And of course also research from results that it shows that being a volunteer, you live longer, fewer depressions, prevent dementia, and 2 to 3 hours is okay. And this is a new part of my workshops, that I arrange internship as volunteer. So when people have just had a day or 2 with me, then for the next 5-6 weeks, they are internship as volunteer in an organization which match their competencies and their interests. And then they return to the job. And I will finish my presentation with a testimonial from one of my participants who will just tell you how she experienced this kind of internship. So you can compare the method in my workshop that you are now an entrepreneur of the company myself. Instead of the day has been planned for you, now you have to take care, you have to be the manager, you have to be the secretary, the bookkeeper, and all the things. So in a company, you have to be more aware of the economy management. And it means that you have to spend more time, I think, to find out if the income and the financing of the retirement is okay, or if you need to take a part-time job, or whatever you have to find, with a way you have to find to finance your new phase of life. No company can exist without cooperation with suppliers and customers. Someone to give and someone to get something from. And neither can we. We need to have a network. So it's time to just have a look at your network when it's changing in this phase of transition from working life, and you're losing a lot of your friends and colleagues. And now you have to find out how to find new colleagues. HR management, it's easy to find out in this company. It's only one person, but time might be where you just have a look at your health habits. Are they fine as they are? Or has time come to adjust my health habit so I'll get a long third age and a short fourth age, both physically and mentally? Strategic planning is also an important part if a company wants to stay long on the market. And so it is if you want to stay long in lifetime. So there'll be a lot of transitions and challenges in the life phase, third and fourth age. So it's important to find out if you get closer to the life goals and the changes ahead, that you are prepared for that kind of changes. And finally, production management is important, which means that the future, the present, how do I use what I'm very good at, my competencies? What kind of activities will I spend? And giving back, this might be the general purpose. When you discover the purpose in later life, this might be the general purpose that you now have come to the stage of life where all the things that has been invested, all the social capital that has been invested in you, now time has come to give back to the grandchildren, as most people do, but also to the local community. So this was a short way of introduction and I think I still have time to show 2 short videos which in each way will discover your purpose in later life. First, a testimonial from one of the participants, and then a 2 minutes video of a way I'm giving back. We are 12 senior in my local community. Each of us, one day a week, go to the local school and assist as a second adult in the school classes. It gives us a lot of joy, and it's really worth for the children and for the teachers and for the parents. So just to illustrate a way to discover your purpose in later life, we'll have 2 videos. Oh, yes, we'll jump over this. Sorry.
I was welcomed to the volunteer house by Peter. We arranged it together so that I was to help some of the girls from Somalia with their homework. I was very excited about it all. Would the kids be all right? Would the other volunteers share my vision for this kind of work? Or would it all come down to coffee and cigarettes on the sidewalk outside the building? Very quickly I was placed at a table together with a Somali mother and her 2 girls from 1st and 3rd grade. The mother never went to school, yet she has 4 girls whom she takes to homework cafe every day here in the volunteer house. The girls were very polite. They thanked me graciously and asked if I'd come back again. They smiled and were kind. The whole atmosphere of the volunteer house was very lovely, and no, there were no coffee or cigarettes on the sidewalk. I told Peter I'd come down again next week. My perspective was widened, my prejudices were undermined, and I got wiser, happier, and I was doubtlessly very useful.
Jeg synes jo, at seniorer i dag er så friske og sunde og raske og har frygtelig mange kompetencer. Så når de er færdige med arbejdslivet, så kan de stadigvæk bruge deres erfaring til gavn for andre. Der er et udtryk, der hedder erfaringsdividende. Det kan jeg godt lide. Og da vi er så 12 seniorer, som hver uge betaler vores erfaringsdividende til de kommende generationer. Mange seniorer gør det jo som bedsteforældre til deres børn og børnebørn, men vi gør det ud over dem også til nogen her i skolen. Og det er der brug for. Vi er i hvert fald rigtig glade for det. Det er en stor glæde for os, når vi kommer og bliver mødt af børnene. Vi siger, nej, vi har savnet dig, hvor er du godt, du kommer. Jeg hedder Poul-Erik, og jeg er skoleonkel på Højvandsskolen i Stavtrup. Så skal du så tage en til. Altså man kan jo sige, at blandt seniorer har den gamle fortælling været, at man bare holder fri, når man er færdig med at arbejde. Der er ved at komme en ny fortælling, og det er de friske, unge, ressourcestærke, sunde, friske seniorer, som aldrig før i historien har været så mange og så friske, som siger, ud over fritid vil vi også gerne have noget mening. Og den mening, den finder man blandt andet ved at give noget af sin erfaring videre til de kommende generationer. Så det er det, der er vores motivation. Det er ikke fordi kommunen siger, at vi skal have flere medborgere. Det synes vi er en rigtig politik. Men som medborger gør man, fordi man selv kan lide det. Men også fordi man føler altså et vist ansvar for det sted, man bor, og det lokalsamfund, man bor. Og det er jo da en rigtig god måde at forvalte det ansvar på, når man så selv får så meget glæde ud af at være sammen med søde børn.
Han er virkelig den bedste skoleonkel, jeg har haft. Altså, det er bare dejligt, at han er sådan en gammel, synes jeg. Han er sådan en sød, rar gammel mand.
Jeg tænker, at det er sådan lidt ligesom glasur på lagkagen. Altså, det er en ekstra fordel, man kan få, som hvis man ikke tager imod den, så er den der ikke.
Ja, det er altså et godt kast, du har der. Det kan jeg godt se.
네, 지금 이제까지 25년의 장수 보너스 우리 다 겪어야 되는 그런 세대가 됐다. 한 번도 경험해 보지 못한 인생 여정이 앞으로 우리 앞에 펼쳐지는데 어떤 사회 공헌이나 자원봉사라는 스쿨 엉클 이름 좋네요. 그죠? 예, 이런 어떤 프로그램으로서 우리한테 새로운 삶의 어떤 목적이라든지 우리 스스로의 가치를 다시 한번 보여주는 그런 복지의 선진국 덴마크에서 오신 폴이라고 불러도 되죠? 예, 폴 대표님이십니다. 제3커리어의 설립자이자 대표님의 활동이 제목이 퇴직 이후의 삶으로의 가교? 징검다리라는 그런 어떤 주제로 들었습니다. 어떻게 들으셨는지 모르겠습니다. 굉장히 좋았죠? 예, 그러면 우리가 또 감사의 큰 박수로 한번 보내드리겠습니다. 감사합니다. 땡큐. 네, 다음은 영국 복권 기금에서 지원한 곳인 것 같아요. NESTA라고 NESTA의 캐리 디컨 프로그램 매니저님이 지난 10년간 네스타가 50 플러스 세대를 위해서 수행해온 다양한 프로그램에 대해서 설명해 주는 시간을 갖게 됐습니다. 큰 박수로 맞이해 주시기 바랍니다.
Hello everyone and thank you for the invitation to join you today. One of the reasons why I love my job is that I get to spend time with the smartest, most energetic, creative and inspirational people. I get to work with entrepreneurs and radicals from all sorts of backgrounds and organisations who are changing the world through innovation for the public good. And I'm excited to be in a room full of such people today. It's been really inspiring to hear some of the stories and the things that you're already doing. And your work is admired at NESTA more generally here in Korea. We look at a lot of your work and see the great progress that you're making around social innovation. Indeed, I know my chief executive is often over here and often regales us with stories about how great it is. So, before I start the core of my presentation, I wanted to tell you a story. I was just about to get my flight over to Seoul, so I've added this photo in at the very last minute, because this is my great auntie Hilda. She's 93 years old, and just before I was getting on the plane, I gave her a call. I haven't been able to see her for a couple of weeks, so I normally give her a call. Great auntie Hilda doesn't have any children of her own, and as she's aged, her health has deteriorated, and she now lives alone in a house where she has to have paid carers to go and visit her. Some family members go and visit her every day, but her life has changed dramatically. Her social circles are very small. The only people she generally sees outside of a small number of people in the family is paid professionals, doctors, nurses, people who help around the house. Her social connections have deteriorated, and as has her well-being. She'll often give me a laugh on the phone and tell me how great things are really going, but when she's having a quiet moment, she does tell me that things are quite sad. She doesn't enjoy life in the same way anymore. And she often gives me a cornerstone of why this work is so important. Because when she retired over 35 years ago, having worked in one company for all of her life, she was told it was time to have a rest. She didn't participate in anything new particularly. She had no help. Her and her husband just started, having a quieter life around the house. And as a result, her life became smaller and smaller and smaller. And she wouldn't mind me telling you this. And in fact, she said to me, "Carrie, I think I should be on the plane to Seoul, and I could tell everyone why this work is so important." And she's a great inspiration in that although there's been lots of innovation to support her physical health, so there's lots of medical products, there's lots of innovation around healthcare, there's been very little innovation to support her social health, her social well-being. And that, I think, is absolutely critical. But unfortunately, in many respects, when you get to 93, it's very difficult to change the course of some of this. And we need to be working much earlier in life to make sure that that doesn't happen. So what I want to talk to you today about is a lot more about how we can prevent these kinds of things happening. And I know you're making many inroads in there, but really why the innovation around this is so critical. So, I work at an organisation called NESTA, and we're based in the UK. We're an innovation foundation, and my job is to back new ideas to tackle some of the big challenges of our time. So ageing is obviously one of these challenges and what that means. We try and look for new solutions, promote innovation, and help good ideas to come to life. So we do this in a range of ways. We make sense of opportunities. We generate new ideas with people. We provide help so that promising ideas can grow, adapt, work. And we try and look at whole systems. And I think what's been most inspiring to me since I've been here is you're really looking at this at a system level. And that is very rare in the context I work at. A lot of the time it's about backing individual initiatives, individual ideas. But really to make this work, we have to think as a system. So we're based in the UK, but we work globally in lots of respects. There's teams within the organisations who partner with organisations globally, particularly thinking about how you make innovation happen. And we also learn huge amounts from other people globally. So as I said, we're often stealing and copying ideas from other people around the world. And I think that's how you make good things happen. So I'm really excited to come here and steal some of your ideas and take them back home as well. So, from the outside, it looks like NESTA does lots and lots of things, but we have 5 priority areas of work: health, education, government innovation, the creative economy, arts and culture, and an innovation policy. And particularly over the last few years, our 50-plus aging focus has extended largely from health and government innovation. Education is very much focused on younger people and helping make skills for the workforce. That does not mean we haven't focused on education through experience, and we'll definitely touch on some of that today. So in order to make good ideas come to life, we use a variety of methods. And I just want to set that context because it's quite important. We use certain methods to help us do this. And primarily today, I'm going to be talking about funding, skills and techniques of supporting outsiders or people within the system to think differently and to come up with new ways of doing things. So this is a framework we use to talk about how we make change happen, how we make innovation happen. So it's really important that you start at the beginning and understand the opportunities and challenges that you're facing for innovation. And we try and move up this spiral in a variety of ways to really change systems and to create a new normal. So what's exciting about your vision is that you're looking to create a new normal for 50+. This is a massive undertaking. It's not just a matter of one project or one idea. This is about really shifting the way that we're working. So along the journey, in the last decade, we've backed huge amounts of ideas in this, all up and down the kind of spectrum. We haven't yet shifted the system. We haven't yet created a new normal. And that's something that I'm going to talk about briefly. Aside from this, obviously, there's a wide variety of things that we've covered. So some of the things I could talk about, but we haven't, I've focused down my presentation, is we have created programs previously that have looked to back new entrepreneurs. So for example, we ran a program called Age Unlimited, which was about finding new entrepreneurs and supporting entrepreneurship as we age. But today I'm going to focus primarily on social participation and why this has been important. And this has strategically been very important as we've worked with government on that kind of agenda together. So where Paul was talking about the supply of the individual focus, I've been working alongside colleagues to really stimulate the supply of lots of ways for people aged 50+ to get involved and why that's so important. So just as a little bit of context, obviously, similar to many developed countries, the age of people in the UK is changing rapidly. We've got more people aged 50+, lots of things going on, lots of challenges about what happens. Here you can see well-being as we age. On paper, actually, being 30 and 40 is actually detrimental to your well-being, the evidence suggests. And as you age, on paper, our well-being has a spike, it increases. But I don't think that's always the case. So that's overarching. And what it doesn't do is split down the demographics very effectively. Some people will feel that and other people don't. And we're learning much more about what makes well-being and what makes happiness. Loneliness in the UK is a massive issue. There's a kind of a lot of talk about as people age. Age UK, a leading NGO in the UK, a charity that supports people as they age. earlier in the year said there's 1.2 million people aged over 60 plus who are desperately lonely and isolated. And so we know that the evidence suggests you need to bring the things forward from that. You need to create good social connections. So just as also a little bit of context, what we've identified is we think that there's been 3 overlapping phases of how aging is perceived. So often it's been described as a time bomb. The aging time bomb, it's like desperate times, we've got to do something to fix this problem. And that tends to focus on tax and pensions and how we're going to live. And there's been some movement about an age of a kind of opportunity, how we're going to connect people, how we're going to do things differently. But we're not perhaps in the age of really harnessing the system and thinking about this as a kind of an economic and opportunity to do things differently, to really change the way that we're doing things. And so we think that we're probably in many countries in the second phase of this, but not yet at the third phase. So with our life expectancies increasing, as Paul and others have outlined today, one of my colleagues, Halima, wrote a publication that was really looking at what's the case for innovation in this field, and really saying that although there's been lots of innovation, perhaps it's not been enough. And we found that there's a big gap between the current focus on aging innovations and what older people actually want. So we went and spoke to a lot of people, and there's been research to back this up. So it showed that older people often ask for or want a sense of purpose, feeling useful, valued as an employee, a volunteer, a mentor, an entrepreneur, to have a real sense of well-being, so living as well as possible with health conditions, and to feel at home, independent and connected to others. So we've really focused some of our phases of work in the next round of really looking at what is it about a sense of purpose, what is it about a sense of well-being, and what is it about being connected to others, and how can we promote that. So these are not things that you can just create an app for, an innovation, just get it out there. These are really complex social challenges, and it's not just a matter of building a campus, an app, or something, a quick fix. These are about social relationships. And so, as I said, we've learned a lot about what makes us happy. You know, the research in this area is really booming, so how are we implementing this into our innovations? We've learned a lot about what creates a good, happy life. It's about social connections. It's about learning. It's about thriving. And I know you're doing huge amounts of work on that. We also know that often the best ways of making yourself happy is by giving something. So across the board, happiness levels tend to correlate more with levels of giving than with GDP. We're learning that it's really important to be connected with others. And that has been fundamental to how we've designed and looked for some innovation. So we're really lucky in the UK that we have a very thriving civil society. With social action and volunteering, we've got a huge cohort of people aged over 50 who already contribute huge amounts to society. We know that there's great levels of volunteering already, but what we wanted to look at and to speak with people about was, is that enough? You know, a lot of the opportunities are designed for people to participate and help other older people. They're not looking cross-generationally. They're not looking at it from a different way. They're not looking how we live our lives differently and how people might want to participate in quite different ways. So people who are age 50 plus told us about the value of really participating and volunteering and giving their time. They found that the evidence found that it increased the quantity and quality of social relations, enabled people to meet new people, improve satisfaction and happiness. It gave an enhanced sense of well-being and purpose. And there is some evidence that says it can reduce depression. So we found that this was a really important point to work from. We found that there was an innovation context for this. But there are barriers. So people are living busy lives. They've got work commitments. They've got lots going on in their lives. So we need to think differently about how we'll involve people. So how we conceive of giving our time and talents as well. We wanted to really help people think differently and how they could enormously change. People have to often think it's a big commitment. You've got to hand over everything and give your time. But actually, there's lots of different ways that you can contribute. So, what we've done is 3 phases of work. And the first, I'll talk about how we've evolved this work. So the first was particularly around just general innovation in giving. And we looked to kind of change the way we were working and stimulate new ideas for how we were giving. This was not 50+ exclusive, but it did involve a number of projects that focused on 50+. Now, the Amazings is one example of that. It was about stimulating new ideas. So the Amazings was a project. It was a social innovation that helped older people, or people who were with skills and were ready to retire, to share their knowledge and skills with their community. It did this by creating classes, online and offline, that older people taught themselves, to often younger people who were interested in developing new skills. So it was kind of a skills exchange, but in a new way. So there was people sharing skills that they had about wood turning or carpentry, or they'd written business plans or had done something else. It was all harnessing all these amazing skills that people have acquired. At first, people were doing this on a voluntary basis, but there were experiments about how you could turn that into a paid option as well. So it was really inspiring to see that people were looking at this afresh with different ways. We also, with this phase of work, did a piece of work around a challenge prize, so a prize that could stimulate the best ideas if you mobilize people's time to reduce isolation. This was a different way of working rather than just funding ideas. It was about awarding a prize for the best idea with the best results. And so the incentive of a small pot of money meant lots of ideas came forward. And over a few months, we worked with ideas to kind of look at what those were. So the winner of this was an organization called Nana's Cafe. Nana's Cafe brought together older women from the community who had great skills at cooking. And they brought people together in a community hub to offer those skills and cook and bring people together in a community setting. The Nanas loved being connected, they loved sharing their skills, and it was a great way to kind of involve people in their community. The food was healthy and brought lots of people from the community together. What was also interesting about the model was that the people would volunteer for 3 months to give their time and show their commitment. But actually, after that, they could join as a partnership and share the profits from the cafe. So quite an interesting model where at first you give your time and talents and then potentially could develop that into a business. Now, I must be honest, not all innovations work. So a couple of the examples that I've given you, they are great ideas and we'd like to see them grow. But unfortunately, the business model for these were very challenging. And that's what I want to understand in your context is, how do you make ideas like this flourish? The business context and how they're supported and funded is absolutely critical. So for example, Nana's Cafe was based in London and the property prices in London are very expensive. So just to be able to pay the rent was very difficult when you've got other businesses with big corporates coming in who could potentially use the same premises and make a lot more money. So some of those dynamics, this is innovation, we're trying something different. They don't always work, but it doesn't mean that the idea isn't valid. The next phase of work was about growing great ideas. We found it was very easy to stimulate new ideas, but it's very difficult to help those ideas grow and flourish to help many more people. So what we did was have a specific fund around supporting ideas that we thought were good, that involved people age 50+ in new ways, but that we were helping them to grow it, to take it to many more people. So this is North London Cares, which was originally based in North London. We've now supported them to grow into South London and up to Manchester. North London Cares is a different way of connecting people in the community. They do social clubs, they do love your neighbour, so it's about people visiting. But what's important is it's intergenerational. So the social clubs are older and younger people coming together. And that was based on the fact that in spite of people thinking, well, as you age, you could become more isolated, actually younger people were saying they felt isolated. They felt that they didn't meet new people. They didn't meet older people when they changed cities. And so the intergenerational thing has really helped people connect with their neighbours, connect with people that they wouldn't know, broaden their horizons. And the older neighbours tell us that they have experienced things for the first time in their lives that they wouldn't have done otherwise. And the younger neighbours tell us that this has been an amazing opportunity. Both are learning huge amounts together, and that's important. It's together, it's not in isolation. And they decide and design what they want to do together, often involving local businesses and things like that to make this work. It's really exciting in that it's definitely successful, and it's brought a whole new flavour of, it's about the talents of everyone in the room. It's not about someone being older or younger. It's really about crossing those barriers. So, Good Gym was a way of bringing people together as well. So how many people in this room exercise? Do you exercise? A couple maybe, hands up. So what we found is that a lot of younger people were exercising but going to a gym, and the founder, Ivo, of Good Gym felt this was an enormous waste of time. Going to a gym, running on your own. Could you harness that positive energy to do good? People also weren't always participating in exercise. They felt like they could make an excuse, they couldn't be bothered that day. Whereas they saw that a number of people were at home on their own. They might have been experiencing ill health or something. So what they found was you could stimulate new ways of doing things. What about if someone ran to help their older neighbour rather than run on the treadmill? Could you use this energy for positive good? So older neighbours would become coaches. They would inspire the younger people to run there and use their time and talents both differently. And this is embedding so many layers of social good for everyone. Everyone's getting something that they need in that situation. And I think that's what's quite important. It's about thinking cross-generationally, cross ideas. Where is the resources? Where are the talents in different ways? And I think that's why this idea has really taken off. It's grown across the country and is doing huge amounts. But unfortunately, not all of these examples are operational in where my great auntie Hilda lived. And you know, this could help lots of people, but we're still having to grow this idea. What it did show is that there's really powerful examples of reciprocity that are not just about people aged 50 plus on their own. It's about people across generations coming together in new ways. And thinking about where the benefits of giving lies. Everyone is benefiting in this situation, so how can we design better solutions like this? But what we noticed when we were analysing the data around this is that we were really looking, and there wasn't enough participation in these kinds of ideas of people aged 50 plus. They weren't always appealing to people aged 50 plus. So with the government, we had a look at, you know, social participation, volunteering levels. They're good, but they're not growing in the UK. We need to think quite differently if we're going to get people to participate. So over the last 18 months, I've been working with government to design a range of funds that are specifically about how we can reimagine voluntary participation, social action of people aged 50 plus. So we launched 3 funds this time last year. One is called the Second Half Fund, which is inspired by Encore in America, and we talked to them a lot about that. One is called Give More, Get More. This is about intensive volunteering opportunities. And one is called Join In, Stay In, which is about a behavioural insights research program that is looking at how you experiment with grabbing the attention of people aged 50 plus in new ways and encouraging them to stay involved in different ways. And so they are enormously exciting, and I'm going to talk about them in a little bit more detail. Last week, I also launched another new fund. It's not on here because we sent the slides in advance. So we're building on this work and the learning with a brand new fund as well. So Give more, get more is the one that I want to delve into in a little bit more detail. So this is about encouraging people to give their time in intensive ways. So what do I mean by that? Often you can volunteer for an hour or a day, a month, or things like that. But what about is if you were transferring from retirement, from work into retirement, could you create a kind of a way of giving 3 to 6 months to kind of phase into retirement in a different way, but create loads of social good? So this is unheard of in the UK. We don't do this, so this is a brand new idea. These are early stage ideas of testing this out. We do have models where people go abroad and do this, so with voluntary service overseas, but we don't have it domestically. So we're looking at whether there were ideas where people could experiment with this and create a placement. And in some countries, we've seen that this is also, it's possible that you could pay someone a stipend, a small amount of money to be able to enable this and to get some kind of income, but at the same time of giving much more in terms of time. So we've got a range of projects who are working on this, and 2 of them I thought were quite exciting and interesting to mention. So Beanstalk is an organisation that supports child literacy. It's really enormously important, and the data shows up that a child needs to be able to learn to read and have good literacy by a certain age, otherwise they're always going to fall behind. It's really hard to catch up. So by having volunteers going to school and giving their time, they can make sure that that child gets one-to-one attention in a special way. Now, giving your time in more intensive ways will increase the connection you have with a child, can increase the social good you can do. And so they're experimenting with whether that appeals to people. North Tyneside Vodda are an organisation based in the north of England, and they're using a model where they're asking groups of 12 older people, so people who have just retired or above, to come together, and they can decide what the social priority is in their area, and they come up with ways to give their time over 3 months in an intensive way to help address that challenge. It's like a way of giving service, but to address the challenge, but really drawing on the assets and talents and knowledge of people to decide what is the priority for their area, what is the priority for the people they want to work. It's about handing over some of the power to people and not telling them from above what they should sort out. So the Second Half Fund. This is really about helping civil society organisations and social enterprises to think quite radically different about involving people aged 50 plus. Many of them did not have a track record of considering 50 plus people as volunteers. This was because if you look at the data in the UK, many people who give their time at 50 plus are giving their time to things like heritage conservation, to other older people, but not necessarily cross-generationally and cross ideas. We thought that there was many more opportunities to give your time in a different way that breaks down some of those social barriers. So we put out a call of action to say, come up with the best ideas, share the ideas that you have to do something radically different. And we got 271 applications from organisations across the country, and we worked with them over a period of time to develop the best ideas, and are funding 13 of these ideas from these organisations. And all of them were charged with thinking quite differently about how they appeal, how they design roles for people aged 50 plus, and why it would matter for someone to get involved with them. This was new for them in lots of cases, or in other ways it was about growing this to potentially reach many more people. So I'm going to concentrate, given the time, on a couple of examples. So SPICE time credits. So many people talk about not being able to get involved with volunteering because of the economic barriers to that. So SPICE time credits rewards you an hour of your time with an hour credit. This credit can be spent, it can be shared with other people, but they created a spend network, a network of organisations, businesses, leisure facilities, that if you give an hour of your time, you can cash that in to do something fun in your life. It's a reciprocal arrangement, but it stimulates many more people to come forward. So earlier today, we were talking with Paul, and Brian mentioned that a lot of the time, the challenge with this kind of work is that it doesn't get to the people who could benefit from it most. So we're not reaching beyond the people who might volunteer or get involved or participate socially. This mechanism has been shown to engage 48% of people who have never given their time before. It's quite exciting as a way to trigger interest, trigger new ways of getting involved. And also people who have participated said it's a great way. I've had grandparents tell me that they've been able to give their children a present via it. They've been able to take them to the theatre or a day trip, and they might not otherwise be possible. So these kinds of mechanisms allow a local social currency that would be something quite different and offers a kind of a different model. So we're helping them scale and reach people age 50 plus particularly in the next couple of years in new areas to think about how you might get people engaged with this and why it's of value to people age 50 plus as they retire and move. VIY is an exciting example because, again, it reaches people that might not otherwise participate. This model is about helping young people to learn skills that they wouldn't otherwise have, which are about trade, building, skills in practical kind of application, about fixing things, both around the home, but potentially as professional jobs. Professional tradespeople volunteer their time as mentors, and they help the young people gain accreditation. Now, in the UK, the trades population is actually a majority of them are aged over 50 plus, but actually not many opportunities ask people with trade skills to give their time. And so this is quite a different way of sharing generationally. They also fix up community facilities, so there's so many levels of benefit that they provide. And the tradespeople love it. They love to be able to share their skills. And it's meaning that they're also being able to get young people to potentially come and work with them, to grow their companies, to do things differently. So that's quite exciting. Grant Mentors is another one of the models that I briefly want to share with you. This is about people who are quite vulnerable. So in England, people who might not live at home with their parents. They've been taken into institutional forms of support through social care. So the young person is no longer able to live with their family. But as they leave home, they're often not getting the benefit of kind of having a stable family around them. This model allows people who are age 50 plus to become a grandparent figure in the lives of young people. And it's really radically changing young people's lives. But the older mentors say as well, it's opening up a world of possibilities, exposing them to new things and making them feel valuable in new ways as well. So we think that there's huge amounts of innovation needed in this in order to help people to participate. The next round of funding is particularly looking at ways to help people connect, to give short spaces of time, connect digitally, and do things that get the benefits of social action and volunteering for people age 50 plus, but in new ways. One of the challenges we find, though, is that we've got to move from projects to systems level thinking about this. So we've got to move from thinking about, an example I often use is about in kind of getting rid of waste. We used to think of just going to the landfill, but now we've developed a whole system about recycling, reusing, and using our resources different. Many things in order to make that happen have had to work in tandem, but that's not what's necessarily happening in the aging field in our country. And I know that you are thinking much more systemically about this. But we're finding that you need to develop new technologies, new products, new services, but develop new markets. As I mentioned, the markets that are not supporting these ideas, they're failing sometimes. It needs new policies and regulations to help this, but importantly, it also needs new behaviours. And I've been encouraged to hear a lot about behavioural change today and new ways of working. What we found with the projects that we're backing in civil society organisations is that there are actually a lot of us are carrying huge prejudices about what 50 plus means. And until we move some of those stereotypes and move that, we're hugely challenged in what we're able to do. And so particularly, we've been having to work with projects to really think differently, think radically different about who you will involve and how you will involve them. So we've been telling projects to not use the word 50 plus at all. No mention of 50 plus. I keep banning it from being used because it limits, in our experience, who would get involved. People aren't identifying it. They think, I'm not that old yet, or this isn't right for me. So how we go to people where they are and find them who would benefit from this most. So we're trying to get the projects to think radically different about, if you're going to make this meaningful, you've got to think differently about how we communicate, how we design for and enable people to get involved. So those were just a few of the stories. There's many, many more that I could share. But thank you for your time, and I hope we can debate some of the ideas a little bit further.
네, 감사합니다. 여러분도 느끼셨겠지만 시간이 더 있으면 더 많은 이야기를 청해 듣도록 할 텐데 여러 가지 케이스들이 많죠. 뭐 스파이스, 그다음에 뭐 VIY 이런 사례들, 또 어떤 세대를 넘나드는 그런 멘토링이라든지 이런 것들이 다 누군가 시도했기 때문에 또 이런 사례를 우리 앞에 와서 발표할 수 있지 않겠냐는 생각을 합니다. 우리는 너무나 두려워 많이 하는 것 같아요. 그래서 시행착오에 대한 것도 우리가 과감하게 좀 테이크하고 가야 될 거 아닌가 하는 생각을 하고요. 다시 한번 감사합니다. Thank you very much. 그다음 또 순서가 있습니다. 이제까지 외국 사례만 우리가 들었는데요. 이제 국내에서 우리나라에서 사회활동 또 사회참여 활동을 하고 계신 50 플러스 세대 분들이 여기 와 계십니다. 그분들의 어떤 개인의 경험, 역사 뭐 이런 여러 가지 이야기들이 또 만만치 않을 것 같아요. 그래서 두 분을 모셨습니다. 본인들이 이제 또 설명을 하시겠지만 간단하게 말씀드리면 LG, SK 등 대기업에서 프로젝트를 수행하시다가 퇴직하시고 50 플러스 세대들의 역량이나 전문성이 방치되는 게 아까워서 다시 이 어떤 소스들을 사회적 자본들을 결합하고 또 청장들하고 함께 융합을 해서 사회적 문제를 해결하는 데 힘쓰고 계시는 협동조합 앙코르브라보노의 신창용 이사장님을 소개합니다. 또 한 분 모셨습니다. 외국계 항공사에서 11년간 일하시고 그다음 집에서 아이들 키우시느라고 16년간을 소뚜껑 운전하시다가 그다음에 다시 뭔가 복귀해야 되겠다고 생각하시고 준비를 몇 년간 하셔서 지금은 동작 50 플러스 센터에서 컨설턴트로 계신 유은정 컨설턴트님 모시겠습니다. 같은 한국 분이니까 제가 시간 조절을 안 할 수가 없어서 몇 가지 질문만 하도록 하겠습니다. 50 플러스 세대가 지금 좋은 해외 사례도 많이 듣고 했는데요. 사실 한국에서의 사회 참여 활동을 하는 데 대한 어떤 현실은 만만치 않은 것 같아요. 두 분이 이런 일을 하시면서 어려웠던 점이라든지 그다음에 또 어떤 거는 내가 이렇게 하게 됐던 계기가 됐다 하는 것들이 있으면은 신창용 선생님부터 먼저 좀 설명을 해주실까요?
예, 마이크 나오는 거
잘 나오고 있습니다.
퇴직하고 나서 사실 사회에 참여해서 일자리를 다시 갖는다는 건 그렇게 쉬운 일이 아니었던 것 같습니다. 저희도 2014년도에 퇴직을 했는데요. 퇴직하고 나니까 되게 막연하고 무엇을 어떻게 시작해야 될지, 그러니까 저를 필요로 하는 곳이 어디 있는지에 대한 정보도 사실 찾기가 좀 어려웠고요. 또 무엇을 시작해야 되는지, 어떤 사회공헌을 떠나서 무엇을 해야 되는지에 대한 막연한 그 두려움과 불안감이 사실 좀 컸었습니다. 이제 그러던 와중에 사실은 교육을 아까 말씀하신 것처럼 교육을 받으면서 교육을 같이 받으신 그 동료들하고 우리들 문제를 어떻게 보면 우리 스스로가 한번 해결해 볼 수 있는 방안을 찾아보자라는 차원에서 협동조합을 만들게 됐고요. 저희가 좀 주목했던 문제는 아까 우리 한 박사님이 말씀하신 것처럼 그 퇴직하면서 저희가 갖고 있었던 전문성이나 역량들이 다 이렇게 소멸되는 거에 대한 아쉬움. 또 한 가지의 문제는 또 이런 것들을 다시 제2섹터에다가 다시 이렇게 놓고 인생 후반을 재취업을 해서 시작하기에는 또 많은 어려움이 있을 거라고 예상이 되고요. 또 젊은 분들이 많은데 저희 같은 또 나이 드신 분들을 채용해 준다라는 건 좀 쉽지 않을 거라는 생각이 들었습니다. 저 피오 섹터에서는. 그래서 저희가 이제 주목했던 거는 제3섹터 쪽에 이 사회적 경제 쪽에는 이렇게 재무 구조가 좀 열악하기 때문에 이런 전문성과 역량을 가지신 분들을 취업하기에는 좀 어려운 면이 있을 거다라는 생각 때문에 그 두 개, 그러니까 퇴직하신 전문성을 가지신 분과 이런 사회적 경제를 연결해 주는 그런 사업을 하면서 또 한편으로는 우리 문제도 우리 스스로가 한번 해결해 보자라는 차원에서 이 일을 시작하게 됐습니다. 그래서 처음에 6분이 시작을 했고요. 그 다음에 이제 좀 조합원을 확대해서 11명이 이 일을 시작했는데 역시 쉽지 않은 일은 그 아직까지는 우리들이 맞는 적합한 일자리가 넉넉하지가 못해서 그 저희뿐만 아니라 저희 같이 퇴직하신 분들이 이런 사회, 그러니까 인생 2막을 다시 시작하기에는 정보도 부족하고 일자리도 부족하고 한 여러 가지 어려움이 있었다라고 생각이 됩니다.
그러면 옆에 계신 유은정 컨설턴트님이라고 제가 소개를 했는데요. 사실 젊었을 때 잘 나갔어도 경력 단절 여성으로 10여 년을 계시다가 다시 무언가 시작하신다는 게 별로 그렇게 만만치 않을 것 같아요. 그래서 어떤 계기로 시작하셨고 또 지금 우리가 얘기하고 있는 50+ 컨설턴트라는 건 어떤 직업을 말씀하는 건지 좀 여기 오신 분들에게 알려주시면 좋겠습니다.
네, 먼저 말씀드리기에 앞서서 여기 사실은 저보다 더 뛰어나신 컨설턴트 활동하고 계시는 분들이 계신데 제가 이렇게 대표로 발표를 하게 돼서 굉장히 영광스럽게 생각하고요. 제가 사실은 아까 16년간 경력 단절 기간 중에 12년간은 정말로 소뚜껑 운전만 열심히 했고 나머지 4년은 사회 복귀를 위해서 열심히 준비를 했습니다. 그래서 사실 제가 사춘기 아들을 더 잘 이해하기 위해서 심리 상담 공부를 열심히 했고 그래서 심리 상담사 자격증을 따고 내친 김에 직업 상담사도 한번 도전해 보자 해서 직업 상담사를 따고 진로 코칭 상담사 자격증을 따고 그다음에 이제 컴퓨터 관련해서 자격증을 딴 다음에 제가 그 커리어 컨설턴트 협회에 등록을 해서 활동을 하던 중에 그 작년에 1기 50+ 컨설턴트를 모집한다는 걸 알게 됐고요. 그래서 지원을 해서 제가 좀 운이 좋았던 것 같습니다. 그래서 선발이 돼서 활동을 하고 있고 작년에 서부 50+ 캠퍼스에서 저희가 선발돼서 활동을 하다가 동작 50+ 센터에 자원을 해서 파견이 나가게 됐고 2016년부터 제가 대표 역할을 하면서 오늘까지 근무를 하고 있습니다. 그런데 하여튼 저는 운이 굉장히 좋았고 여러 좋은 선생님들의 가르치심을 많이 받았고 그리고 제가 일하면서 굉장히 행복하고 내가 살아있다. 나 뭐 못하는 사람인 줄 알았는데 이걸 하고 있네 하는 거를 하루하루 느껴갈 때마다 참으로 행복하고 감사하고요. 그래서 모든 경력 단절 여성들에 대해서 제가 상담하러 오시면 정말로 즐겁게 저도 했는데 선생님도 하실 수 있습니다 하면서 즐겁게 정말 진정성을 가지고 상담을 해드리고 있고 그런 것이 같이 울림이 돼서 전달이 되는 것 같고요. 그래서 50+ 컨설턴트로 활동하면서 저는 굉장히 많이 보람도 느끼고 물론 정말 요즘 그 현대 사회가 굉장히 어려운 일도 많고 하기 때문에 컨설턴트 개인 차원으로서는 해결하기 조금 힘든 상황들을 갖고 오시는 분들도 계세요. 그럴 때 어떻게 이분들을 도와드릴 수 있을까? 어떤 전문 기관과의 연계나 이런 것들이 참 아쉬울 때가 있거든요. 근데 그런 것에 대해서 저희 재단, 그러니까 50+ 재단 차원에서 지금 정책 연구를 하고 계시는 걸 알고 있고 그래서 좋은 대안이 나올 거라고 기대하고 있습니다. 그래서 저는 50+ 컨설턴트 활동을 하면서 제가 얻게 되고 제가 그 느끼게 된 행복감이 너무 크기 때문에 이런 그 보람일자리 활동을 하면서 이렇게 사람이 긍정적으로 바뀔 수 있다는 것을 제 스스로 체험했기 때문에 그것을 많은 분들께 나눠드리고 싶고 그것이 저의 소명이자 사명이라고 생각합니다. 감사합니다.
예. 그 신창용 이사장님은 지금 현재 50%의 당사자로서 우리 사회에 어떤 문제에 관심을 특히 갖고 계신가요?
아까 말씀드린 대로 시니어들의 제 인생 2막을 위한 일자리에 좀 관심을 많이 갖고 있습니다.
그러면 그 퇴직 이후에 어떤 이걸 위한 준비를 따로 좀 하셨나요?
예, 저도 뭐 귀농도 해볼까라고 고민도
예.
해보고 또 어쨌든 해외 그 시니어 그 해외 봉사단 나가는 것도 한번 고민해보고 여러 가지 이제 고민들을 대부분의 이제 퇴직자들이 고민한 고민을 대충 하다가 이 중간 지원 단체, 그러니까 사회연대은행이나 신나는 조합 이런 데서 또 50+ 재단에서 교육을 받으면서 나름대로 이 사회활동 제3섹터에 대해서 관심을 갖게 됐고요. 그래서 영리 섹터보다는 제3섹터에서 우리의 어떤 새로운 인생 2막을 디자인하는 게 기회가 많겠다라는 생각으로 이 일을 시작하게 됐습니다.
막상 또 이렇게 사회 활동 하시려고 이렇게 참여하기 위해서 이렇게 여기저기 많이 정보도 주시고 또 직접 발품도 팔으셨는데 앞으로 후배들이나 동료들 미처 여기까지 선생님처럼 여기까지 모든 분들을 위해서는 어떤 지원들이 어떤 배려들이 있었으면 좋겠다 그런 말씀 혹시 있으신가요?
예, 저희가 이 자리에 이렇게 쓸 수 있었던 가장 큰 요인은요. 그런 교육을 받으면서 사실은 동호회 활동이라든가 아니면 단체 지원 사업이라든가 이런 지원 사업이 좀 있었습니다. 국가에서 있었던 그런 지원 사업을 저희가 응모를 해서 거기에 당선이 돼서 받은 그 어떤 우리에게로는 시드머니가 지금 이 기회가 되지 않았는가 생각이 됩니다. 그래서 그런 지금 제가 알기로는 50+ 재단이라든가 중간 지원 단체에서도 많은 그런 활동에 대한 지원 사업이 있기 때문에요. 그런 지원을 잘 활용하고 또 같이 혼자가 아닌 그 뜻을 같이 하시는 몇 분이 모여서 그런 활동을 같이 하면서 저희 같이 이렇게 좀 발전돼 나가고 그거를 기반으로 해서 좀 더 성장될 수 있는 모습들이 갔으면 싶습니다.
지금 이 순간에도 저희가 50+ 오픈 라이브로 이렇게 카카오톡에서 여러분의 의견을 받고 있습니다. 제가 지금 계속 보고 있는데 플로어에서도 질문 좀 있다가 질문을 하실 기회를 드릴 테니까 메모해놨다가 어느 분들한테든 질문을 하시기 바라고요. 마지막으로 유은정 컨설턴트님께 여쭙겠습니다. 너무나 지금 행복하고 또 의미 있는 일을 보람된 일을 하고 계신다고 말씀을 하셨는데요. 똑같은 질문입니다. 어떤 준비를 하고 경력 단절 여성이나 아니면 다른 여성들이 40대, 50대 이렇게 60대를 맞이하면 좋을 건가? 그리고 본인은 10년 후에 본인의 모습을 어떻게 지금 기대하고 계신가? 물론 더 이뻐지시겠지만, 네.
네, 일단 10년 뒤에도 저는 어디에선가 좋은 일들을 하면서 행복하게 살고 있을 거라는 확신은 있습니다. 제가 지금 하고 있는 일에 대해서 그 의미와 가치를 저는 분명히 알고 있는 사람이기 때문에요. 그리고 지금 저처럼 오랜 경력 단절을 기간이 있으셔서 내가 어떻게 뭐를 할 수 있을까 고민하시는 분들에 대해서는 가까운 50+ 캠퍼스나 50+ 센터에 가셔서 컨설턴트 분들께 꼭 상담을 받으시라고 좀 권해드리고 싶습니다. 왜냐하면 전문 역량을 갖추시고 진정성을 가지고 상담을 해드리고 있는 분들이 많으시고요. 지금 좀 전에 신창용 이사님께서 말씀하신 것처럼 제도적인 지원이나 여러 가지 정부에서 이렇게 보조해주는 그런 것들 제도가 많거든요. 근데 그거를 모르기 때문에 활용을 못 하시는 분들이 많고 그러니까 내가 앞으로 나의 생애 설계를 어떻게 할 것인지 방향성을 설정하는 면에 있어서도 컨설턴트 선생님들께 도움을 많이 받으셨으면 좋겠고요. 제가 이렇게 얘기를 하다 보니까 컨설턴트 소개만 실컷 하다 가는 것 같은데 아무튼 그 50+ 재단에서 그 여러 보람일자리 사업들을 진행 중에 있습니다. 그 본인의 본인의 역량과 그동안의 삶의 경험에 맞춰서 여러 가지 보람 일자리에 지원하실 수 있도록 도움을 드리는 것도 저희 컨설턴트들이 하고 있으니까요. 많이 이용을 해주시면 감사하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
예, 감사합니다. 두 분 감사하고요. 이어서 질문 저희 앱에 들어왔는 질문 좀 오픈 라이브에서 온 질문 좀 발췌하고요. 그다음에 여러분 질문도 같이 받도록 하겠습니다. 여러분 생각하시는 동안에 생각하셨겠지만 한 두 가지 질문이 벌써 들어왔습니다. 폴 대표님에게 온 질문이네요. 통역해 주시는 거죠? 예, 사회 참여에 앞서서 인생 재설계할 때 가장 중요하게 고려해야 하는 건 무엇이며 그 이유는 무엇인지도 알려주세요. 다시 한번 가장 궁금한 게 폴 대표님의 경우에 여러 가지 인생의 새로운 단계를 말씀하셨는데 거기서 가장 중요하게 생각하는 게 뭔가 하는 거를 알고 싶습니다.
Okay, I'll try. Well, I think I finished my workshop yesterday with a simple four-step method and what's most important when you enter and arrive to later life. The first step is to realize that it's not just downhill, it's a new beginning, as I talked about your new life phase. Because when people realize that they have ahead of them many years, not so many years as they have lived, but at least many years for most of them, then they have also to accept and realize that this is a new period and you might have reached all the goals you set in the first part of your life. Now, what is the purpose and the goals for this new phase of life? So that's the first thing, a new beginning. And next thing is how to discover two kinds of purposes. First, discover the individual purpose. And one of my exercises I have experienced, what my participants are very fond of, is that I give them a chance to look back on their whole life and to find 10 situations during the whole lifespan where they are very good and where they can use the competencies, do things they are good at, and feel that they really enjoy it. So when they have identified 10 of that kind of situations, from the early childhood, first education, and the sports ground and dance hall, together with partner, other things, it's not an easy job, it takes more than one day. But when you have identified 10 of them, then try to prioritize or choose 2 or 3 and say, if I can fill the new phase of my life with such things I know I'm good at and I enjoy, then I might have a very good third career or a good third age and a long third age before I reach the fourth age. So the individual purpose is an important part to discover. And to get it, I think you need good guidance. You have to be open-minded about this difficult transition. Most people, they are very isolated about it and don't talk with others, but having dialogue with others and good counseling, and you're so fortunate you live in Seoul where you are offered free, very fine counseling at life schools and campuses. So maybe we should move to Seoul, yes. So this is the individual purpose, and then I might call it a common purpose as well. But when you have reached the age of 50 plus, then you have also lived so many years and gained so much experience. There have been invested so much social capital in each of us that time has come for all of us to give back. Time has come, it's the common purpose when you reach this kind of age, that now you have to pay back to society which has given you so much. I think Mark Friedman have the expression, experience dividend, And I really like that very much because it gives a simple way, a simple solution that when you combine your individual purpose with a common purpose, then you can say, I can spend a lot of time on my own with my grandchildren doing things that most people do in their retirement. But we have to create this new norm where you also contribute 2, 3, 5 hours per week to the society because you've got a lot from society. So giving back experience dividend is a part of it. I think it was all 4 steps.
네, 이 질문은 감사합니다. 예, 아무래도 우리 한국 사람들은 그래서 뭐 어떻게 하는데 확실한 걸 나한테 줘야 집에 갈 때 뭘 좀 오늘 건졌다 하는 느낌이 오니까 그걸만 물어보신 것 같고요. 또 비슷한 질문인데 캐리한테 하는 질문입니다. 혁신, 굉장히 아름다운 말인데요. 혁신을 해 나가는 데는 초기에 현장에 계신 분들이나 실천가들이 굉장히 많은 어려움 내지는 시행착오를 많이 겪는 것 같습니다. 네스타에서 혁신 사업 추진 시에 가장 어려웠던 점 내지는 시행착오를 했던 것 중에 가장 기억나는 게 어떤 게 있었는지를 알고 싶고요. 이걸 우리 서울이나 한국의 50플러스 프로젝트를 할 때 이런 시행착오를 줄이는 방법은 뭐가 있는지 그걸 알고 싶습니다. 하는 질문입니다.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think failure is inevitable, and if you're not failing at something, then you're not really innovating. We're not pushing the boundaries enough. So we try and increase the amount of experimentation. Now, I work with central government in the UK, and their tolerance for failure is perhaps not what I would want it to be. So how you have to manage failure is something I've definitely had to deal with. But what I think is quite important is that a lot of innovation doesn't need to be a big bang failure. It can be lots of trialing and experimentation. And I think what's really important is that if we're going to address some of these challenges, is we have to take that experimental mindset with us. So we may try things and then we may learn, and we need to take that information and apply it to the next thing. The biggest challenge we face with the innovations that we support are the things that are kind of sometimes beyond our control, and that is often kind of funding business models to make these things work and grow, especially when they're at these early stages of development. So I think having some understanding of that and how you can support and nurture innovations when they're in that early stage of being vulnerable because they're new and they're different, they're going to be quite radically different from what you're experiencing. So, for example, in the employment field, if we took that as an example, you could do something quite radically different. But how would you stimulate those new ideas from businesses to reimagine what employment could look like in later life? But that takes quite a bold kind of move, and you have to tolerate that a lot of that. You may have some failure in that. At NESTA, with some of the funds that we run like that, if we can make 2 or 3 things go big out of a portfolio of 50 even, that is successful, because that's the things that are going to change, and they're the things that eat away and change behavior and culture too.
Thank you. 그리고 이제 저희가 이게 많이 올라와 있는데요. 50플러스 오픈 라이브러리에서 대답을 저희가 지금 못 해드린 거는 아마 50플러스 재단에서 답을 해줄 거라고 저는 생각을 하고, 이제는 질문을 여기 계신 플로어에 계신 분들의 질문을 받도록 하겠습니다. 손을 들어서 질문을 해주시고요. 마이크를 좀 전달해 주시고, 우리 50플러스의 특징이 뭐죠? 마이크를 잡으면 굉장히 길다. 이런 거를 좀 뭔가 새로운 뉴 패러다임으로 짧게 간결하게 얘기할 수도 있다는 걸 오늘 좀 보여주셨으면 감사하겠습니다.
먼저 영국 네스타에서 오신 게리 디콘 매니저분께 여러 가지 좋은 사례를 말씀해 주셔서 감사를 드립니다. 네스타의 여러 활동에 대한 것 중에서 가장 제가 관심이 있고 또 유용하다고 생각하는 것 중에 하나가 이제 버디 허브 활동인데요. 그 활동을 하시면서 독자적으로 지원금을 받아서 독자적인 기구로 운영을 하시는 건지, 그리고 또 정부와 지자체와의 협력 관계는 어떻게 하고 계시는지, 또 그거를 확대해 나가면서 부딪히는 어떤 문제점과 주의해야 될 점, 이런 것이 있는지 좀 구체적인 설명을 해주시기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
Yep, I can touch on Buddy Hub. So I skipped over this example because I was running out of time, so apologies. So Buddy Hub matches people in communities to kind of meet and connect, especially people who are more isolated. Interestingly, it's actually using some great technology. So it's using some AI in order to help make those matches better. And that was going to save enormous amounts of money. So it's quite an exciting project. So we fund that project with an entrepreneur who set that up. And we're giving them kind of seed funding to grow that idea. They were trying to work with the health system and with local councils to kind of broker those relationships effectively. And to be honest, that's always a very big challenge to get outside entrepreneurs into a system like that. So we do a lot of support with her to kind of help her make those connections, make the case for her work, develop her evidence to show that it's working and why it's of value to things like the health system and local government. It's not an easy solution. You have to grow and demonstrate it. I think that's the biggest tip I would say is show it, make it look good, make it work, and then you can demonstrate the value to the system.
또 저 뒤에 계신 분, 네.
네, 감사합니다. 저도 캐리 디컨 선생님에게 질문을 하고 싶은데요.
인기가 되게 좋은데요.
발표하신 사례 중에서 그 스파이스 타임 크레딧 시스템에 대해서 제가 궁금한 게 있는데, 저는 이제 타임뱅크 코리아라고 저희들 최근에 사단법인으로 이제 허가를 받은 기관인 양혜란입니다. 그 스파이스 제가 알기로는 이게 한국에는 타임뱅크로 알려져 있고 영국에도 처음 갈 때는 그렇게 1990년대에 가서 네스타가 오랫동안 타임뱅크를 지원을 했던 걸로 아는데 최근에 세컨하프 펀드에서 스파이스를 이제 다시 지원을 하시게 됐을 때는 그 이전의 타임뱅크와 어떤 새로운 잠재력을 보셨는지, 특히 제가 이제 발표를 들으면서 이 혁신을 시스템 안에서 하신다는 그게 굉장히 인상적이었는데, 그 부분과 관련해서 그 타임뱅크가 그 사회 시스템 안으로 안에서 혁신을 이룰 수 있는 가능성을 특별히 어떤 점에서 보셨는지 조금 더 상세하게 설명해 주셨으면 합니다. 감사합니다.
We've backed a range of projects and programs that use time banking models. So time bank, you can either exchange your hour for someone else's time of an hour. The principal one that I've just mentioned, Spice, it's a little bit different in that you bank your time for a credit that you can spend rather than someone else's time. We see that there's huge potentials for these models which are more based on reciprocity and kind of using your time as a currency. And I'd love to see more of that expanding. There's a lot of talk about the sharing economy or models like Airbnb and things like that. But actually, we're really excited about the potential of sharing time and talents in these ways, and how you can use that to leverage in so much more social good. Now, NESTA we're not a long-term funder. We have limited funds of our own and work with others. So when we shift, normally we invest in an idea for a couple of years and help hopefully see that grow and bubble up and help support them with a variety of different ways. We're not a long-term strategic funder, so we help bubble up ideas, support their business model. So we would never support something for 10, 20 years, unfortunately, although that would be great, I'm sure. So ours is about getting the new ideas, getting them profile, So definitely, I think there's huge potential for these kind of reciprocal currencies and new ways of doing things that could add enormous value, particularly as we age and I guess we don't have necessarily the economic income in the same way. How can we reimagine what our resources and assets are in exciting ways? So it's really exciting to hear that it's taking off in Korea too. So I'm really encouraged by that.
대단하십니다. 지금 이 아무리 우리가 50+ 포럼이지만 2시간 이상을 가만히 앉으셔서 이렇게 참고 계신다는 것도 대단하신 것 같은데 요 다음 세션이 또 있거든요. 그러니까 좀 휴식도 좀 취하시고 또 더 질문 있으시면 또 다음 시간에 질문을 하셔도 될 것 같아요. 지금 비행기 타고 장시간 오셔서 제틀렉이라고 그러나요? 저기 그 시간차도 있으실 텐데 정말 애쓰셔 좋은 강의를 주셨던 강의를 해주셨던 폴하고 캐리 두 연사님 감사하고요. 그 다음에 우리 또 한국의 두 분 신 선생님하고 유 선생님은 쉽지 않았을 변화인 것 같은데 그걸 과감하게 도전하시고 또 지금 인생의 전환을 하신 또 할 얘기도 너무 많은데 제한된 시간 안에서 별로 말씀 못하신 두 분 네 분께 큰 박수로 수고하셨다고 전달해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 이렇게 해서 저희는 이 세션은 마치도록 하겠습니다. 이제 휴식하시고
네, 잠시 한 대표님 비롯한 5분 수고하셨고요. 자리로 들어가셔도 좋습니다. 네, 다시 한번 박수로 수고하신 분들 마치도록 하고요. 오늘 이제 덴마크하고 영국하고 이제 우리나라 이렇게 같이 좀 볼 수 있는 시간이 있었던 것 같습니다. 그래서 뭐 저희 재단 같은 경우에는 정부 예산이 들어와서 운영이 됩니다만 이제 덴마크 같은 경우에는 유럽 기금이나 기업들의 자금이 들어가서 직접 서비스를 운영을 하고 계시고요. 영국 같은 경우는 이제 복권기금, 우리나라도 복권기금이 있습니다. 그래서 영국 같은 경우는 복권기금이 출연을 해서 저 재단이 운영이 되고 있습니다. 그래서 같은 재단이지만 이제 재원은 조금 다르고요. 또 저희 재단은 전문가들하고 협업을 해서 재설계 서비스나 일자리 연계나 이런 프로그램을 제공을 하고 있는데 덴마크에 계신 우리 덴마크 사례는 이제 작은 영리 기업으로 직접 서비스를 제공을 하는 데 비해서 영국의 재단 같은 경우에는 저희처럼 직접 서비스를 하지 않고 단체들의 프로그램을 지원해서 프로젝트를 지원하는 형태로 사업을 하고 있습니다. 그래서 뭐 그 운영하는 형태나 배경은 조금씩 다르지만 공적 재원이 들어가고 공공정책적인 관심이 공이 있다 이런 점에서 굉장히 유사한 점이 있고요. 또 뭔가 그 50+ 또 60+ 세대의 경험을 함께 나누고 사회에 기여한다라는 측면에서의 접근도 상당히 같은 맥락에서 되고 있다라는 것을 느낄 수 있습니다. 자, 그러면 세션 1과 세션 2 내용을 바탕으로 50+ 세대의 배움과 사회활동 증진 방안을 주제로 하는 종합 토론을 이제 마지막으로 할 건데요. 그 전에 잠시 휴식을 갖도록 하겠습니다. 입구에 다과가 마련되어 있는데요. 편히 드시면서 15분부터 다시 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.